Good afternoon, Director Board, Department Leader, and all of my colleagues. Today, on behalf of the Emergency Intensive Care and Anesthesia team, Dr. Tín will present a monthly medical news update. Usually, as a clinical doctor, we don't have time to read on the new article, so we'll introduce some new headlines about our field. The goals of today's report is to update on several relevant articles published in prestigious, reliable journal in the field of emergency intensive care. The content of today's presentation will consist of four main parts as follows. The first part will cover the criteria for evaluating reliable journals, and the remaining three parts will sequentially present summary of three important new points. Moving on to the first part, let's identify some reliable journals. To identify reliable journals, we often rely on databases such as Scopus, ISI, and Schemago ranking system. If a journal is listed in this database, it will be given priority in our selection process. Here are some examples of how to search for a reputable journal in Scopus database and Schemago scoring system. In Scopus, the ranking is based on size score, while in Schemago, it relies on SGR score. The list of articles to be reported today, we will present three important articles, including one meta-analysis, one randomized controlled trial RCT, and one practical guideline. So, we come to the first study. The study was published in the Critical Care Journal with the following title: Comparison of Clinical Outcomes between Aggressive and Non-Aggressive Intravenous Hydration for Acute Pancreatitis, a Systematic Review and Meta-Analysis. The step of reading this article will follow this step. The first step, I wonder why they do this research, because the fluid rate in acute pancreatitis remain unclear, so they do this research. The research question in this study is aggressive or non-aggressive fluid IV in acute pancreatitis. The method study in this study is systematic review and meta-analysis followed in placebo protocol. The result you can see here that 9 RCT include with 953 participants. The primary outcome is mortality. The secondary outcome is fluid-related complication. The result is favor non-aggressive fluid with the relative risk in patients with aggressive fluid is severe patient acute pancreatitis is 2.45 with statistically significant, and in non-severe AB is not significant. The conclusion for this study is aggressive intravenous hydration increased the mortality risk in severe acute pancreatitis, and fluid-related complication risk in both severe and non-severe acute pancreatitis. More conservative intravenous hydration protocols for acute pancreatitis are suggested. It's important that usually in patients with acute pancreatitis, we give the patient a lot of fluid in the past, but now we should be careful. Don't use too much fluid for a patient. You might be wondering how to define variable in this study, right? The severity of acute pancreatitis is based on Atlanta 2012 classification, and the definition of aggressive fluid or non-aggressive fluids is based on these criteria. If the patient meets one of these criteria, the patient will define as aggressive or non-aggressive fluid. So, come to the next article. This second study is an RCT with the question: when should the blood transfusion be administered for patients with acute myocardial infarction? In this study, the research question is restricted or liberal transfusion strategy in MR patient is better. The method for this study is RCT. Myocardial infarction is included and divided into two groups. Restricted group, it means the hemoglobin cutoff for transfusion is lower than 7 to 8. The liberal group, it means the hemoglobin cutoff is lower than 10. The primary outcome in this study is recurrent MI or death at 30 days. The result of this study, the restricted group have the MI or death is 16.9%. The liberal group it has a lower MI or death with 14.5%, but the relative risk is 1.19. The confidence 90% of interval have the one value, the B value is 0.07, so it's not significant. So in conclusion, lateral transfusion did not significantly reduce the risk of recurrent myocardial infarction or death at 30 days. But as you can see here that the trending in favor the liberal group, restricted may be harmful. Let's move on to the final article. We talk about a meta-analysis, we talk about an RCT, and this slide I talk about one practical guideline. It is a UCAR published annual review evidence about cardiopulmonary resuscitation. As we know before, UCAR has 6 members, and ERC and HSA is one of their members. Usually, after a period of 5 years, ERC and HSA will give us a guideline about CBR, but an annual UCAR will give us some updates about latest evidence. So, what is key topics in UCAR 2023 consensus? They have a lot of things for the patient, but I want to focus on one important that meaning with clinical doctor, double sequential external defibrillation with in short DSED. The recommend about DSED of this consensus that they recommend that DSED strategy or VC vector chain defibrillation strategy may be considered for adults with cardiac arrest who remain VF or painless ventricular tachycardia after greater than 3 consecutive shocks. In an easy way to understanding that if you have a patient with cardiac arrest with a shockable rhythm like VF and VT, then we do the 3 consecutive shock, but the patient still have the VF and VT. We can try this strategy, DSED or vector chain defibrillation. The recommend is weak, the evidence is still low, but this is the wonderful way we can try in clinical practice. So that's the only thing that I want to report today. Thank you for your attending.